Now, the first stage of the solve of this puzzle is we kind of need to get it back so that we can turn the top and the bottom layers completely. So all 5 layers turn. And I need to therefore get the edges of the top and the bottom oriented and then get the corners oriented. And you remember that we had these 4 middle edges, which were somewhere, that we had to scramble as well. And so initially, what I need to do is just find 4 edges that I can get reduced, put them in the middle layer, and then reduce the rest of the edges. So it's a little bit of an extra step here. I wouldn't say it's a pain, but you kind of think, oh, good, I've got everything ready to reduce it all, but you're going to have to undo a little bit of it. So let's see how we go. As I said at the start, you don't have to, in this scrambled state, say that, the orange green has to be my top. You could say anything can be your top. However, for my purposes, I just always use the orange green as the top. So just bear that in mind. It's not essential. You can start with any center and say, right, that is my top layer center, whatever you want, and go from there. So if that's the case, how do we get these edges reduced? Well, we're looking to orient them correctly. That edge is not correct. That is not correct. This edge here, how do I know it's an edge? It's between a center and a center. This edge is correct, and you can see that there's a nice line there. That's where it should be. And in fact, that corner is correct as well. This edge is not oriented correctly. So the first thing that I might do is a number of techniques that you can use to get edges oriented. And let's say that I want to get this edge replaced with something from the middle. All I would do is say, well, I'll bring this one up. In fact, I would bring this one up to the top layer and probably put this one down the bottom. So for example, if I turn my edge over here across, bring this one up so that it is oriented correctly, and then undo. So I've put a good edge in there. That one's dodgy, and that one's dodgy. So I need to do something with them soon. And doesn't matter if they're next to each other or not. I guess I can just, for the first layer, I can just keep doing this. Basically replace these with some edges in the middle, because it doesn't matter what they are. So perhaps this edge will come to here, and then put this one down the bottom. Okay, that one's good. And then the last edge I think I had to do, where was it? Or is that it? Maybe that's all the edges. That one? Yep. No, that's the other one. Okay, so again, I'll put this one down to the bottom using this one here. That's in the middle. Now I should find all the edges now are correctly oriented. If I look across there, I can see they all have that line under them. Now, this corner is also good, but I don't want to look at the corners yet, because I've got to get all the edges on the top layer, whatever the top that I've chosen is, and all the edges on the other layer, the bottom layer, which I'm now calling the top. Magic. Okay, that one's good. That one's bad. That one's good. That one's good. Well, how can we have only one good? Or sorry, one bad? Well, it's because we've got these middle layer edges as well. So I'm actually just going to show one technique, by the way. Let's say that you had 2 edges up here which were both oriented incorrectly. Let me just actually set up for that very quickly. I think this should do the job. Yeah, so this edge here and this edge here, both of these need to flip. So I can use the standard edge flipper that I would normally use on a cube to flip 2 edges. So these are the 2 edges. This is my third one that's not going to change. All I want to do is a down, down, up, up. And then here's the edge which used to be here. Instead of putting it straight back, I turn its position across, then bring the edge up, and then undo, undo. So just like on a cube, you'll see now that edge is correctly oriented, as is that one. So all of my edges are oriented. In order to be able to turn all 5 layers, I now need the corners to be oriented. And this is where it's a little bit trickier than what we did in the scramble, because I can't just grab a corner from the bottom and place it up here. It won't touch these edges, but it will muck up the edges that I've got down here. So I now need to use various techniques to twist corners as I want them. So let's have a look on a solved cube as to what I might do. Now, if we want to rotate two corners, there's a couple of ways we can do it. I suppose there's a lot more than a couple, but these are the two ways that I'd be using. The first way is, if I look at these four corners on the top face, and let's say that I want to rotate this one and then this one. Now, the second one can be anywhere. This is just the standard corner rotator or corner twister that I would normally use. And for this one here, if I wanted to rotate it anti-clockwise, so the blue comes to the top, then it's an up, up, down, down, twice. And I'm going to replace that with whatever other one that I want to rotate. Now, if I just want to rotate this the other way, then I would undo those moves. So instead of going like this and turning this front face anti-clockwise, when I undo it, I first turn the right face as my up, then up, down, down. Do that twice. And you can see that by doing that, you undo all this stuff here, and all it's done is rotate the two corners that you want. Now, if you had three corners that you wanted to rotate on the same face, and again, it doesn't matter where they are, but we'll put one at the front here and just say the other two are these two here, you don't need to undo anything. What you essentially do is this. You rotate the first one in the direction that you want by doing two up, up, down, downs. That's done. We then say, let's put the next one in there, turn that upper face, and do the same thing. And then we turn the third corner into position, the third one that we want to rotate anti-clockwise, do two up, up, down, downs. And you'll notice that the bottom has all come back where it should. And if we then turn again, two turns, so we get them back to where they belong, nothing's been touched except these three corners have been rotated all in the same direction. So that's another method we can do there. Now, the third method that I'm going to show is just using a sune and then a left-hand sune. So basically, this is really useful if you just don't want to be turning too much. You just want to turn two faces here, and what we're going to see is that these two corners will rotate. So let's carry out a sune first of all. You can see that the cube is being held very still. There's no real movement there. And I'll do a left-hand sune. And when I'm done, everything is returned except for these two corners. This one has been rotated anti-clockwise, this one has been rotated clockwise. So if you have two corners that are on the same face and you just want to do that, that is another method of dealing with having to twist corners. Okay, with that in mind, I would just look here and say, well, this one needs to twist clockwise. This one's good. This one anti-clockwise, and this one's good. So I've got an anti-clockwise here and a clockwise over there. So I'll demonstrate the first technique that I might use and say, well, first of all, I'll do a couple of up, up, down, downs here. Again, everything's kind of slower at this point, or in fact for most of this solve. There's my two up, up, down, downs. You can see that corner is now correctly oriented. So I now bring the other corner around into that position, and I'm going to, edges are lined up, I'm going to twist this one clockwise, so undo what I just did. Okay, now I think they were the only two corners there, so I now find that this top layer is completely turnable. That's what I'm aiming for here. Let's go to the other side. We've got to achieve the same thing here. All the edges are okay. This corner needs to twist anti-clockwise. This one needs to twist anti-clockwise. And this one needs to twist anti-clockwise. So we've got three anti-clockwise ones here. Again, I could use a sune and a left-hand sune, but what I'll do here is just twist this one, then move the next one in, and then where was the third one? It's this one around here. I think that's the only corner that's good. So I'll start here and twist each of them anti-clockwise like I just did. So up, up, down, down. Do that twice for the first one. There we go. All right, the first one's done. bring the next one in. Again, that's going anti-clockwise. And that's done. And bring the last one in. And just like on a cube, doing this 3 times will ensure that all the other edges are brought back to where they should be. Okay, all are done, and I should find now that that top layer is turnable as well. So that one is turnable. I now have all 5 of these layers available to me.